I wasn't to walk, yet I walked. I was never to grow hair, yet I grew hair. I was never to lead a fulfilling life, and yet I work every day.
HSS has always been a kind place and a place that really loved its patients. It's about making you live happily and productively.
We touch a lot of people's lives, and I think our history forms a foundation for who we are and what we stand for.
In many ways, not much has changed. We're committed to the same thing that we were committed to 150 years ago.
The country was in the middle of the Civil War. Hospitals in those days didn't want to take children who were deformed in poor sanitation conditions. Dr. Knight saw this as a problem, and he was able to gather together very prominent citizens in New York City, and they formed a society called the New York Society for the Relief of the Ruptured and Crippled.
Dr. Knight created a hospital in his house to take care of impoverished children who had disabilities related to musculoskeletal diseases.
It was a 28-bed hospital for children, inpatients. In those days, there was no real surgery going on. There were no antibiotics. There were no vaccines. There were no rules of sanitation. Medicine in those days was quite different than what it is today. When Gibney took over in 1887, he brought a lot of firsts to the hospital: the X-ray machine, the first operating room, the first pool for rehabilitation of arthritis patients. He decided that the young doctors in training should live in the hospital, and he would move out of the hospital. And as a result, he called them residents. And it was the first time that the term resident was used. Finally, in 1928, the first public school in New York City in a hospital started. Many times the children were in the hospital for up to 2 years. Every day they had good food, they had schooling in the morning, physical therapy in the afternoon.
In 1934, I would occasionally visit the hospital as a boy. It became much more of a flourishing orthopedic hospital after my father came.
He thought that the future of medicine is in research, and that the best research is one that is conducted in association with doctors who are actually caring for patients.
This infrastructure has advanced our science and advanced our care. The strength is the collegial and integrated relationships that the clinicians and the scientists have.
Without everyone working together, we would not be the extraordinary organization that we are.
People are incredibly engaged in what they do, whether it be the nurses or the therapists or the radiologists.
When I started, there was one man who did the x-rays. We have now a foremost radiological service.
In the OR, we have three-dimensional CAT scan imaging that we can assess our results on the table.
I was jumping on a trampoline with my cousin, and I went in the air after her, and the surface was hard, so it just cracked, basically, my growth plate.
In the case of Sophie, you'll get a partial growth arrest, and part of the growth plate grows, but part of it doesn't grow.
They said that I had a leg discrepancy and all that, and I needed the spatial frame to, lengthen it. But now they're the same, my legs are the same height, or, length. First practice back, I thought I was going to do horrible, but surprisingly I did better than I thought.
It's much easier to prevent the deformity than it is to treat it after it's already developed.
If you don't address it at a very early age, it stunts their growth. It also impedes their development. Unfortunately, we see a lot of these patients in Ghana when we go to evaluate and treat children.
Hannibal Boakye is an amazing person. Not only is he a great surgeon, probably the best scoliosis spine deformity surgeon in the world, but he's a humanitarian.
I sleep with a picture of Dr. Boakye next to my bed every night. I'm in the ICU. I'm in a halo. I can't move anything, except I can give him the thumbs up.
Through his inspiration, his wisdom, his determination and commitment, created an orthopedic hospital in Ghana.
For me to go back and practice the type of medicine that I'm used to here, it has to be the same standard, and for that to occur, I had to build it.
And just as James Knight did that in New York City, Hannibal Boakye has done that in Ghana. The courage of both individuals is apparent, even though it's 150 years later.
Reading his story reinforced my vision. and it solidified my dream. And that gives me the hope that in time, we will be able to reach the same heights that this hospital has reached.
HSS is not a hospital. It's a home. It's my second home.
The best feedback that I get from patients is that when they leave here, that they are amazed. They're amazed with the skill of the people who work here. They're amazed with the compassion.
I loved it here. I didn't want to leave because they were always so nice, and there was always someone coming in to check on me.
Special surgery has been about excellence. Going forward, we continue to strive to improve everything that we do.
To stay at the head of the field, you have to be involved in creation of new investigative procedures and the development of new devices and technology. The hospitals strive to be at the forefront right along, and more than ever today.